What's up, you fucking shit cats? Let's do it. It is time. It is The Matrix, and it is the last one. And look at these guys. They like being shit cats. I like being a shit cat. But it's time. It's time to wrap up the rewatch. And hey, what a nice way to open up Christmas Eve than to calling all my listeners shit cats. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having a nice Christmas Eve, and I hope you're ready for the rewatch that we're about to do here for Revolutions. The movie's coming out. Now, it's already out for everybody, the new one. But instead of putting out the spoiler-heavy discussion that we're going to do, my spoiler review is already out, I'm sure, at this point. The non-spoiler is already out at this point. But the full-on discussion with myself, and it'll just be coy because Kate's not cool enough to see the movie yet. Oh, no, you know what? She might see it, but it doesn't matter. We were pre-taped it. Yeah. So either way, we're going to talk about it. We're excited to talk about this one, and very interesting takes in general of how we saw it. You can say that somebody watched it and said, oh, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought it was. There's another person who saw it and said, oh, man, this is worse than I thought it was. And there's somebody who said, I've never seen this movie before. So you can figure out who that was in just a moment. But we got a lot to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. It's Matrix Revolutions. It's Christmas Eve, everybody. I'm sure you're all going to watch this next week because right now you're stuffed on turkey. You're doing whatever the hell you're doing. All right, let's do it. Let's get to it.
Meow, meow, meow. Shit cats, 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 shit cats.
Oh my God, we're gonna get demonetized. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. What a cool poster that is, though.
Man, it's gorgeous.
Love that Matrix Revolutions poster. All right, it's the third movie. It's Matrix Revolutions. It's me. It's Kate. It's Coy. It's the three of us. All right, we watched this movie. It really is the movie came out 6 months after the second movie came out in the theaters. I remember being so excited about that. I understand why they did that, because this is one big movie. This is not a part 2 and a part 3. This is one big movie. And you could feel that even the way that to be concluded at the second movie with Bane on the table, and then I think that I stick to the point that I made last week, which is, I think a lot of people didn't accept this movie because it's around 80% real world / Zion and like 20% of what they fell in love with, and that's the Matrix, and it really isn't much of the Matrix. It's the only, it opens the train stuff and the train guy and how Neo got to that world didn't really make a lot of sense. It's like how is he in the Matrix if he's not connected in? It's like, oh, because he's the one. It's like, oh, how's he able to fly? Because he's the one. It's like. And then he meets I liked the scene with the family, though. I really did like that scene with the program with the family. The wife's like skeptical. So why are you talking to this guy?
I think Sati is the most important thing from 3 for 4. I think Sati's going to be.
You think she's in it, right?
Yeah, and the end of 3 is what I think 4 is about.
Who plays Sati in the new one?
It's the same girl, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
I like that
because time has passed.
I like that.
But what I love is actually I want to hear your thoughts because I got a rant. So I want to make sure I hear what you got. It involves Sati, so I want to say that. But
no, I think I had no expectations, and so what I sort of feel like this movie did well. I feel like the other movies, there's not like classic A, B, and C storylines. Right. This had different levels. This was different. Well, it had different storylines. Like I feel like we're only with Neo or
oh right,
and I feel like there was something about like
more direction.
And there was just like, well, we're on this ship now, but this is still at the Zion base, and so I felt like they were telling different stories at the same time, which is not really the way the other ones work. And I sort of felt like, I don't know, I felt like visually a lot of stuff was compelling. I love the Jada Pinkett Smith whipping that fucking ship around, going up the pipes and stuff like that. Like, it again, do I feel like it changed? Was this a movie that changed my life in any way? No, but like, did I feel like I wanted to turn it off and not keep watching it? No, not at all.
It wasn't as terrible. I remember it being terrible. It's not terrible for me. I remember watching this movie, and I can't remember if I've seen it more than once. If I did, I didn't remember shit about it, except the stuff that obviously in spoilers. The fact I remember that Trinity died. That I remember, and I remember not liking it then. And at the time going into this, I would probably think, oh, why is she dead? But now, with the fourth movie, that's what I'm saying. I think because I know there's a fourth movie and I've seen the trailer, I was a lot more forgiving on what I saw because I know it's not over.
I can see that.
And I think it's similar to like the prequels when it's Star Wars, when you see that when Revenge of the Sith was the last movie, and a lot of people like Revenge of the Sith, and as do I have a definitely stronger appreciation to it. But when the prequels were the last thing you ever thought you were going to get of Star Wars, people were like, that was it.
Yeah.
And people still love them, and now people love them even more so, myself included, because it ties into the Clone Wars series that we got and everything else. This is similar because when I watched this, it's like, okay, if the fourth one delivers, the third one I think is going to start to play a lot better for people. Mm-hmm. It certainly did for me. But if the fourth one stinks, it's like, I don't know if I ever need to watch the third one again because they set up a lot of shit at the end of this movie, like you said, like, whether it's the little girl, whether it's the fact that the Oracle and the Architect are back talking again with each other. It had a very Lost vibe to it at the end. And when they're talking to each other and having that whole discussion, it's like, will Neo come back? Yes. The answer is yes. We don't. They didn't know at the time.
I expect so.
I expect. She's right.
Yeah.
And she's right. And she will. Now the question is, how is it all going to play into each other? How much time has passed? Clearly a lot.
Yeah.
Because we see that Jada Pinkett Smith has aged significantly. So is she the same Neo?
And the Merovingian has aged, and Neo
is he in it too? See, I didn't see him either.
So in the Merovingian, watch the Deja Vu trailer when they're doing these overlap fades. Yeah. One of them is Merovingian, and you see him with like a long gray beard, and then it's
interesting.
4 frames. But now I know he's in it.
See, this is why I'm so glad I revisited and rewatched though too, because I would have been pretty lost, not lost. I just would have forgotten a lot going into it. Like this as a refresher going into the new movie, I think I'm going to enjoy it even more so, and I do think that it makes the third one better. I do. I was surprised how much I didn't mind watching this movie because I thought I was going to go into it going, oh man, this is going to be a job. It wasn't. I had to go take the dog for a piss, and I was like, I'm going to get back and we'll finish this movie.
That's how I felt. I was getting sleepy watching it, and I was like, but I actually really want to keep watching this. Like, I really did want to. And I will say that, like, even things like, oh, are they like just moments of suspense. Again, it's not necessarily quintessential Matrix. It's just like a good movie sort of suspense. But like, are they going to who's going to get the gate open? Who's going to get the gate open for them? And like, we're on the ship seeing them approaching with the gate not being open. We see the kid have to get into the thing. I mean, if you're somebody who likes to see things, like I said to you, like I love, like in Clone Wars, both the movies, but actually I think in the movie they've got those ATRTs, which are like these little like running things that they sit in, and like shoot, and like those big like Avatar robots that they're shooting with remind like the way that things get reloaded. I don't know. I feel like it was cool to look at, and I felt like there was again. I do think it was a sliding scale. There's the least amount of philosophy in this. I do feel like this is pure. Just an action movie, like a war movie. But I don't know. It did not bother me.
Yeah. It's
so the things you guys are describing as the things you enjoyed are the things I have a problem with. So that's what I think is interesting is the experience of when I watch a movie that's in the Matrix franchise, I don't want it to feel commodified. And I feel like when we commodify or turn something into profit, we lose the integrity of it. Just like I was talking about like last week I talked about the forms and I talked about the essential essence of art and like what it means to have something be sacred. I do feel like the commodification of religion in this film was an issue for me. What it did with making things about this journey we've been on landing with compromise. Like at the end of the day, this movie ends with we've gone on this journey, we've had these beliefs and all this stuff, and then Neo's like, a lot of you are gonna have to stay batteries. I'm so sorry. Like it ends with the machines and humans having to kind of have a truce, which I would like if they landed there differently. I did not feel like I got any sort of closure or any sort of and now with the fourth one, I might feel better, like we're talking about.
That's what I mean though.
But I do worry that we went on a 3-movie journey to end with what they did in the Animatrix in 7 minutes.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's
I do.
You know, it's a major risk though with the movie. It's like because it won't change your if they do it the right way, it will change your thoughts on this movie. It can change your thoughts on this movie on how because it plays into because they're not ignoring 2 and 3. They're playing in everything that happened. They're going to connect it all, as you mentioned with the little girl if she's coming back, like all these different things that they're going to play in and how it all plays together, what version of Neo this is. They've talked about it with the Architect, how many versions of Zion had been blown up before they finally did it. Did that version of the city stay open for a while because of the choices Neo made? What happened afterwards, right? Because
Now that's the stuff the quantification stuff I don't like, but you brought up Sati the girl. The thing I do like is there's an underlying concept of two worlds in all these films. There's the Matrix and then there's the dream world. Like there's the Zion world and the dream world. What I do like is that there's a commentary through Sati about she doesn't know the difference. There's a great conversation between Keanu where she's like, I can't go home again, and Neo says neither can I, and like there's this moment of like what home represents, what worlds represent, and there's this underlying commentary on each world is just as real as the other depending on your perspective. What I love is when she makes the sky her own creation. To me, that symbolizes you need to find beauty in whatever world you're in. And the more our world, like this actual world of ours, gets more and more digital, the more we accept our reality as being because of the internet, the more we live online digitally, the more each of us on the internet jobs spend time on Twitter and YouTube and seeing you through digitally, the more we have to accept finding the beauty in that world. And I think Sati represents the new millennia of technology. To me, Sati represents what we all kind of do for a living, and it landing with a positive, even though the nihilism, the Nietzsche of like everything's worthless rubbed me the wrong way. The last bit with her makes me go like, oh, there's hope. And hope is what I want out of the fourth film.
Yeah, and I think that that's the way they kind of set it up. Kate, you were going to say?
Well, yeah, Coy, lighten the fuck up. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I hear all of that, but I also feel like, so I guess the question I have for you is, were you disappointed by the machines and the humans working, like that Neo, after all of these years of it being like the humans oppress the machines, now the machines take over, the machines oppress the humans, now they've got a common enemy because as we see, whether it's us inventing machines or machines inventing machines, one of the machines has gotten too powerful. You didn't like the
I loved the idea, hated the execution.
Okay.
I love the concept.
So it's like we see that in real, like what, like
all the time. That's how we should perceive things.
I am with you though. The stuff with Smith, it just gets lazy at the end too, and like when the
dialogue gets heavy-handed. The dialogue suddenly like, we have mutual enemy. I'm like, where's any sort of subversive commentary?
That's true also, and the fact that he took over the Oracle. She knew what was going to happen. She knew, she saw it from this was the journey that was going to happen and how it was all going to play out. That's the reason why she's the Oracle, right? And the fact that that's why she let him take her over. Why she was able to give him that message at the end where she says like everything that has a beginning has an end. Like she's talking to him. He's like, what did I just say? What like I didn't mind that, right? It just, and then because then he allows himself to take over Neo and then it blows him up. But then he's taken over the whole Matrix and every single person in it has been corrupted by Smith. He's a virus, right? I understand that, but it's the fight at the end, even though they're playing that really epic music.
The slow motion like kick to the chest.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, it's like
every raindrop is so.
It just wasn't.
And the CGI there does not hold up.
No, it's not as impactful. Yeah. The music, because even though it's like you can make the music as loud as you want.
Yeah.
It's not hitting me, homie.
Yeah. And the score of all three of these is incredible. I know you're usually like the music is a huge foundational part for you, and I felt that more because of our conversations. Yeah. But then I was like, I wish the visuals matched the way the music.
That was it. It wasn't the music I had a problem with. It was the fact that I'm not as invested in this fight as you want me to be.
Yeah, this video game cutscene has gone on a while. I'd like to play again, please.
Yeah, because what you've done is
you. How I feel in Breath of the Wild.
Okay, but
I'm like, are we still
just
acting out of it?
But you've set me up.
Can I play again?
You've set me up with this now story that I'm invested in throughout the whole thing, and now you're going back to what you did in the second movie, which is overdoing the action, and it's like, well, no, but we're not doing that for this movie now. Where what you've done now, you're introducing me to all these little side stories, and it's fine when Niobe's coming through and she's racing through because that's part of the story. They got to have people on the gunners, and like I love the idea that the Sentinels are coming in to take. Like I liked the Zion stuff in this more so than I remember liking it. Like the fact that the captain's up there trying to get them out of the way and try to. There's no winning against these things. There's just none.
And they have to make it to that level of like there is nothing you can do. We have to be on the same side. Like I get all of that, but I think the problem with execution versus concept is if it felt like both sides won instead of both sides lost. Because I don't want to go through a journey like I felt emotionally and philosophically and existentially about this journey and feel like everyone loses, because then it's the Merovingian winning. It's the idea that determinism is everything is worth nothing, and they very clearly established in Matrix Reloaded that the Merovingian was wrong. So it's like they're betraying their own underlying concepts.
And he gives up pretty easy in this one. And he gives up pretty easy.
So we need the end to feel like everyone won by compromising instead of everyone losing by compromising.
Right.
It is. I mean, there are things that just kind of don't tie in, and it also made me realize that, or made me think at the end, like, who's going to be the bad guy in the fourth one? Is it the machines after we've established that the machines are not the bad guys?
Well, I think about just U.S. war history, and I think about how we for a while were arming the Afghan, the Taliban, so that they would fight Russia for us.
Yeah.
How did that work for us? Yeah. Ultimately, we then have this. So I feel like maybe there's that sort of, like, maybe there is something like we've had a truce with these people.
Right. Well, it does seem like the architect, when he's talking to the Oracle at the end, it's like, we're going to do this again.
Yeah.
It's going to happen again, just to be able to happen differently.
Can you guys, before I go, explain the end to me? So Smith goes in, infects. He's going to take over Neo.
He's taking over because he said, he's like, do you like what I've done with the place? He's pretty much affected every single person inside of it.
Exactly. So but why is it that, so then Neo just like hangs on to a sliver of himself? Like, how does Neo beat him once Smith's
Well, it looks
inside?
like he's locked into the machine mainframe.
And the machine, that's the thing, is does the machine help?
The machine are helping, yeah.
My interpretation is from the first film, there's a commentary on getting to the source. Okay. And then when Neo gets to the source and realizes that isn't enough, he's like, wait, it didn't just end. Now I've got to go further. Yeah. To me, I always saw it as the source wasn't the location. The source was the actual machine that he had to bond with. So I think once he bonded with the source, it wasn't a location. It was a concept. It was a mindset. Yeah. So I think once he was able to bond with the machines to that level, that's the only way he was able to overcome Smith. So he was part of the entire...
and they respect him. That's why they don't just drop his carcass on the floor. They carry him out. It's a Messiah style.
Exactly.
You know, like that's why,
because he was them in that moment.
Right.
Like he was with them.
Right. But he also very willingly, like, there's the moment where he says, like, he hears Smith call him Neo, and he's like, and then Smith starts saying, like, wait, what did I say? And like, it's almost like, it's almost like Neo knows what's about to happen.
Like, he does,
yeah. He absolutely does.
So there's but does he know that the machines are going to help him?
Well, yes. Remember that. Remember that the Oracle is part of the machine in the first place, right? So the Oracle being connected to the machine in general, knowing that the machines are, the machine knew right away. He's like, when he's like, you got to work with me. He's like, well, what if you fail? He's like, I won't. And I'm, all right, that's good enough for me. And they plug him in. I liked the bonding between them because like that's how they're going to work together. That's how they're going to like.
And throughout the films, he's been part of the Matrix. Like I was explaining in our Reloaded rewatch, like he's the 1% that causes the change. He's the thing. So I did like that. I do think.
Did you like the face?
the voice of
which one?
The face.
The baby, the Gerber face, the Gerber baby yelling at me. I love that.
Yeah, that was.
But
what are you doing here?
I'm sentient evil.
None of us make faces ever, but I do.
I don't believe in humanity, but I'll make a human face real quick, bruh. Clearly the third one bothers me, but I think the very end is just like in the first film where he has to let go and trust in the removal of self, and that's also very sacrificial.
But
he believed at the end.
Well, that's what I liked about when Morpheus says he's like, he doesn't really know whether it's going to work or not. He just knows
he has to.
He just knows that he has to.
Because it's the end of all things. And that's what Agent Smith has been leading up to all the time. Because Agent Smith originally just wanted to get out of the Matrix. Once he was broken out of the Matrix, he wanted to destroy everything. And Oracle even says, like, once this is destroyed, he's going to keep destroying until nothing is left.
Right.
So he achieved that in the third film up into exactly this point. So it was
the Antichrist.
It's the Hail Mary of like, this doesn't work, there's nothing left. And then the faith, the belief, and then tying into the source. Yeah. In my opinion.
All right. So you're going to go. But while you go.
And with that.
That's fine. I'll tell you what.
Check out this sponsor.
Well, we got us two here. That's what we're going to do. But before that, we are also, you're right.
I'm so glad you dug it. That makes me really happy.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm so glad you enjoyed these.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you guys about QUIP. That's right. QUIP. Brush your teeth. Brush them. Brush your teeth. And I'll tell you what, if you're keeping your mouth in tip-top shape, earn some rewards while you're at it. Upgrade your QUIP and a new smart motor to track and improve your brushing with the free QUIP app. You earn amazing awards, free refills, products, Target gift cards, much more. Beyond just the brush, QUIP has a whole line of stocking stuffers, rather, for everyone on your list. And there's two ways to floss. You can floss string that expands to clean, a reusable floss pick that replaces over 180 disposable picks with every refill. Refillable mouthwash that's 4 times the concentrate plus good for you and the planet. Even more good news, QUIP's running their best deals of the year, which means you won't be paying through the teeth when you gift your better oral health care this year. Health this year, sorry. But I love it. I love Quip very much. You guys know that I've been raving about them. And if you go to getquip.com/bigthing right now, on top of their holiday savings, you're going to get the first refill free. That is your first refill free, and up to 40% off of bundles. You get quip.com/bigthing, GETQUIP.com/bigthing. Quip, the Good Habits Company. Yeah, man. I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited about the new movie, and I think that what we do here is that with this lead, and there is some stuff, and it's funny because, like I said, I just think that this movie, the third one, if I didn't know that the fourth one was coming out, I would just be like, all right, that was still pretty but because I know there's a new movie coming
It does
out,
open the
it
problems
opens it
back up in a positive. Like the things that I want solved now can be solved conceptually. And I do like some of the undercurrents of like binary thought is death, like things aren't black and white. I like there's a lot of like equality of religion, like Seraph scene in the second one, I think it was, where he's got a bunch of different religious artifacts next to like a soccer ball and stuff. And there's a lot of really cool visuals about like the equality of believing in the world. And in this movie especially, there's a lot of being present in this world that is important for your happiness that I don't think they touched on in the other two. Like when they're in Zion, that's important. When you're in the Matrix, that's important. They have to see, and that's what I love about Sati so much. And I hope all of that pays off in 4. I hope all of those, like, it's weird that the third movie felt like it was like setting up a thing that they didn't know was going to happen 20 years later.
Well, that's the thing, is that it's just such a fingers crossed for the fourth one, because I can see us walking out of that movie 2 different ways, because we're going to see it together, and we're going to look at each other, we're going to be like, it did it, it's coming back, we're going to get,
oh no, we have to go record a review,
or it's going to be.
Do you like that part of the Matrix where she forgot her water?
I do love that part. Trinity always thirsty,
but there's that moment that I don't want to live, of just like, of looking at you and going,
and the stakes are so high.
It was. It's like, it's so complicated. They overdid it. It doesn't work. Like, they tried to do something that they took a big swing, but they just whiffed.
And I've never reviewed one of these because in '99 I was 11,
right.
And I've never done anything immediately after, and that's going to be really unique of us. We're going to be digesting it in real time,
right? Like,
we're going to be actually experiencing what our first thoughts are on a movie that's probably like,
well, because we're going to.
I look up books, like I go into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah, well, we're going to pre-tape our right after we see it.
That's what I'm saying.
So
there will be no time to Google.
There won't be, and we're just going to have a fresh conversation right out of it. It won't come out right away.
But that's going to be really interesting for us, because we're going to have.
We've already seen
different thoughts than what normally would be my exposure to the Matrix.
Right.
Usually I finish one of these movies and get into all of the allegory, but this is going to be like, what's it like as a movie? What's it like as a not researched experience? Like, it's going to be a really different thing.
It is. It's going to be like, there is going to be that inevitable conversation that we have about, is this the end of the franchise? Is this a reboot to the franchise?
The game intrigues me because the Unreal Engine is very expensive, and the promotion they're putting into it, I'm wondering if it does well, how much they've mapped out, and do we get like an HBO Max show?
Yeah. So I haven't. I mean, at this point, probably when this comes out, I will have seen that trailer. But so you've seen that trailer already too. It ties into the story and everything, obviously.
Keanu and Carrie Ann are in it.
Okay.
So it's very much like this is the Matrix. And
similar to like Enter the Matrix.
Yes, like that was with Niobe, yeah. So it's very much like this is essential to the story, I imagine. But I also think they've learned some lessons about making it so it's not prohibitive for the experience.
Right.
Because I remember a lot of people were complaining in 2003 about like, I don't know what's going on because I didn't play this, I didn't read this, I didn't do this.
Right.
I don't think they'll make that mistake again, but I also think we live in a more digital compatible time where we have Disney Plus shows tying into the movies, where we have people are more aware of multimedia universes.
Yeah. But this movie, because this and a lot of this rewatch is gonna be very relevant to what we're talking about, because it's the tie-in of what the hell happens to Zion, how they protected Zion. What's the is it Locke? Is that the
which one?
Niobe's
the
boyfriend.
General Locke or whatever.
Yeah. So he pisses me off in this movie, but he's supposed to, because he's just not a believer, right? He's just I got to do what I got to do. And he's not wrong in a certain aspect where he's even, I like the idea of the EMP when he's just like, they're like, we did it. We saved the city. He's like, but you didn't.
For a minute.
He's like, you saved it for a second.
Yeah.
He's like, you just shut down the whole system. You know, had you not left in the first place, probably could have just whacked that out in right away when they came in, and then we could have reset.
Right.
So he wasn't wrong.
And I love that our villains, other than the machines, and then even the machines, are things we have to go like, ooh, I kind of get it.
Yeah. It and the battle scenes and the stuff played for me more this time around. Like when you got I don't remember all the characters' names. I don't, but I remember
there's a lot.
Z is Link's girlfriend. So when Z and I can't remember the woman that she's running with when blowing up the
that girl's awesome.
She's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of names.
She's great, and like that whole thing. It's funny because I remember
more Zion works for me than Matrix. Like when they're on Zion, I'm into it.
But that's what they play into in this one. So
right.
I don't disagree with you at all that the stuff inside the Matrix in this one is the least intriguing part about it.
Right.
But initially when I saw it, it bothered me more.
That's good.
Because I think that now, because there's so many different kinds of media, the fact that I know the fourth one's coming out, because when I saw it, I was like, well, this whole thing, what you've sold me what was so cool about this franchise was the Matrix. Yeah. And the idea of the Matrix and the manipulation of the Matrix and all that. And like, now you're just having me spend all this time in this city, in this post-apocalyptic world. And I don't know if I want to be there. Right.
But now
I'm like, first of all, because I know I'm going back into the Matrix.
Right.
Way more accepting of it. Plus the fact that it's like, well, I kind of more so based, it just felt to me back in the day. It's like, okay, here's Star Wars, but we're not going to show you any Jedi, no Force or anything too.
Sure.
Works in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Right. So this to me played a little bit more like Rogue One-ish when I watched it this time around, and saying, okay, no, again, knowing that it leads into something else. I think that it was in the lead in. I don't know if I would have liked it as much as I did this time.
I just wanted more conversations about what the movie was the underlying stuff. Like the scene in the second movie where they're talking about the machines feeding each other and like the responsibility. There weren't enough scenes like that for me that it was like, I want to know why they see binary thought as evil. I want to know why they see this commodification of religion as problematic. I want to see those conversations. And instead it was like, let's spend 10 more minutes in the rain. And they kept cutting to stuff where I was like, but we're watching The Matrix, not Action Movie 7. Like Action Movie 7's $5 at Walmart.
Right.
I can watch that later.
Right.
I didn't
it
get
did
enough.
Have that. It had that, and plus, and then it played into that whole, like with Bane, with Smith jumping into Bane, that weird horror movie thing where.
And then that was the stuff that Kate liked, so that's great,
right?
Because that's what she wanted from this movie, and so I can't say for better or worse that other people like this movie less or more than me.
Right.
My experience was this wasn't the thing that makes The Matrix special is it's 80% philosophy, 20% action. This was 1090 the other way.
It was, and it was. I mean, there was stuff that there was a lot of action for sure, but I think that even more so than just the 10% of philosophy and 90% action, I think it was more generic science fiction film than it was special Matrix film.
Even Matrix film, Matrix action.
That's I think more so because I feel like the second one is more of an action film, to be honest. I just think that it was
Matrix action. Yeah,
it was Matrix action.
And even that we talked about how diluted it was.
It was definitely diluted, but the third one just seems like a science fiction movie, which is I think maybe why I liked it a little bit more this time because
that's more your speed now. Like that's where you've evolved your taste.
Yeah, but it's just to sound like a broken record here. It's just that it's the fact that I know it connects to something else. I know that the stuff that I missed from this, I'm clearly getting in the next movie.
Yeah.
And then you get two of those movies, and you got two of the like.
If you bookend, because it sounds like what you're saying, like 1 and 4 is Matrix heavy, and then the middle is Zion heavy. That can rewrite everything for me. This might go up from 2.5 stars to 3.5.
And I might be, putting the horse behind the car, whatever the saying is.
Cart for the horse.
Cart for the horse first. But that's what I think I might be doing already. Sure. Because I've already responded to these trailers.
The trailers have gotten you enough excited about because arguably the 4 minutes of trailers are more in the Matrix than this movie was.
It seems
or you know
like
what I mean?
it.
Like, or they're new Matrix. It feels like the classic to me. Even though the coloring's different, the choreography is different, it still feels like the Matrix.
It seems like they found the heart again in it. And if it plays into and if they don't ignore the story, like there's that risk, man. That they like. And as I mentioned, we just did a whole thing on Sith about the Duel of Fates comic that they based off of Trevorrow's treatment, right? And the reason that I really enjoyed it is because as much as I don't like Last Jedi, it didn't ignore it. This Duel of Fates,
cool.
It played with the. Have you read the comic?
No.
Oh, dude, I got to send it to you.
Please, that sounds exactly my shit.
It's way up your alley. And somebody made it. And it's so great, and Trevorrow liked it and everything too.
Oh, it's amazing.
But the reason why I liked it is because it didn't ignore, as where JJ clearly ignored tons of shit that Ryan did, and Ryan ignored a lot of shit that JJ did. This combined it all, and that's what I think that the fourth movie needs to do. Now, granted, it's not two different directors. It's just Lana Wachowski doing what she had done in the past.
Right.
And now, as long as that stuff, and it doesn't seem like it is, if all three, regardless of if you like the third one or not, it can't be ignored.
Right. Too much happened.
No,
and too much like foundational.
Too much, and too much is set up with even with the train station shit and all that stuff is like why that's there and all. It reminded me like the Harry Potter thing. You remember Harry Potter in the last Harry Potter movie when Harry dies for a second or whatever to it, something like that, and he goes and he meets Dumbledore. It reminded me of that scene, right?
It's interesting. It's very similar, yeah.
It reminded me of that, and then the idea of the kind of the peaceful, the being able to get there, the fact that Trinity has to save him to get him back, and then it plays, and that's the beginning of this and the most of the Matrix E. I think it's the most Matrix out of this entire movie.
The moment where he's blinded and he sees only light is one of my favorite moments because to me I was like, oh, that represents a lot of concepts kind of landing, but then they didn't re-explore those concepts. They were like, okay, tease, we're gonna go over here and fight some more. Right. Like I got a taste of where I wanted the movie to go, and I'm really hoping 4 is where we can take this franchise.
Yeah, me too. And that's the question is, can they do that? Will they do that? And the question is for you guys is, when in the world are you guys going to get ButcherBox if you haven't done it already? ButcherBox is delicious. ButcherBox is wonderful. ButcherBox to me is some of the best food I have ever had in my life. Coming up to Christmas here. If you don't think I'm eating brisket from ButcherBox, then you don't know me. You don't know me. I love getting this high quality meat. There's so many different reasons, whether it's the fact that it's more ethical, it's sustainable, it's better taste. The taste on this food. I was before I even had heard of ButcherBox, I was like, it's fine. I get the meats, it's the same old. It's when it's high quality meat, you can tell. And man, does ButcherBox do that. Because when it comes to the meat that will be the centerpiece of the holiday meals, quality matters, everybody. And when you invest in high-quality meat from ButcherBox, the benefits go way beyond just a great-tasting meal. So what do? ButcherBox sources their meat from partners with high standards for quality. There's no more searching the grocery store for 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, wild-caught seafood, and more. Their sourcing decisions are made holistically, keeping the farmer, the planet, the animal, and your family in mind. I have the New York strips, which I love, but the ground turkey we've been eating a ton of. We're doing
so healthy. It's really good for you.
We're doing the brisket. Yeah. We're doing the chicken cutlets, the tenders. You can customize the box.
Have you done taco salad with ground turkey? That's my new jam.
We did not taco salad, but my wife makes the she does two. She does the shredded chicken from the organic chicken breast that's really delicious, healthy, and we do the ground turkey tacos also.
So I do it like a ground turkey over chips and then lettuce, tomato, salsa.
So it's like a little
nacho, man. But like minus the cheese, a little healthy nacho.
Talk about anything that you guys have got. I want to hear about it. What have you got? Did you get the sausage? Did you get the bacon? What did you do? There's so many different things that we make at my house with the family. They love it. Love ButcherBox. I love how you can customize, and it's so convenient. And the amount of money you spend at the grocery store, gone. Every month, ButcherBox is going to ship a curated selection of high quality meat right to your house. Free shipping for the continental U.S. There's no antibiotics, no added hormones. Now, each box contains 8 to 14 pounds of meat, depending on the box that you choose. That is enough for 24 individual meals. It's packed fresh and shipped frozen for convenience, so you can save time on your next grocery store trip. Customize your own box. That's what I do. Or you can go with one of theirs. They have a bunch of different choices. Either way, you get exactly what you want. So this holiday, ButcherBox is going to give new members 1 pack of bacon for free in every box, plus 20% off each box for the first 5 months of your membership. Free bacon for life and $100 off. That's butcherbox.com/bigthing. butcherbox.com/bigthing. Okay.
So there were a few things that did land for me.
What,
I apologize, folks, looking at my phone for the notes. I'm not texting.
Tell me.
So I did like that there's a commentary on the oblivion of being, which there's a few philosophers who say that the entire history of the Western world is based on the oblivion of being concept, which is basically that we are waiting for someone more powerful than us to solve all of humanity's problems.
Right.
Like every religion, every concept, we're always like, someone else is going to fix it. And even if you're agnostic, like government, like there's always
Superman.
Superman. We're always like, go over there. Like someone's going to solve this for us. And I like that they made the source just another system of power.
Yeah.
So that even when he got to the source, it was like, that wasn't enough. So there's kind of this almost nihilistic version of don't let someone else solve your problems because it might not solve. And that's why I think Morpheus is so defeated, because Morpheus is like, I've put all of my belief in this thing. Yeah. Oh no, it didn't work. And even Neo has to accept a certain level of like defeat in order to go further.
But that's what I liked about the Niobe scene.
Yeah.
When she says, when she goes, the Oracle told me, that he was going to make a choice and or whatever it was. He's I thought you don't believe in the one. She's like, I don't. She's like, I believe in him.
Yes.
Great scene.
Yeah.
Because that is like, no, I don't. The philosophies and the ideas, I believe in the individual at this point. I believe in what this person has done. I believe in the belief. I believe in his drive. So that's why I'm giving you my ship.
Because I think the biggest commentary in the third film is that all systems, because the Matrix is about systems. That's one of the things, like the word Matrix is a system of systems. I think the thing it lands best is that all systems, when they grow too powerful, overwhelm their original goal.
Right.
So Zion didn't get the chance to become powerful enough to solve the thing because it believed in one thing too much.
Smith became too powerful. The Matrix
couldn't handle it. The Matrix had to go to Neo because it wasn't. So I like the idea of the absolute power corrupting, absolutely, but even in systems, because we see that even like, in my opinion, like the Americas as we are, like we've gotten so big we don't know how to talk to each other. Like there's a duality in a lot of things where it's like we need to solve these problems, but the systems are too big. So it's a really interesting commentary on how we don't let other people believe because we believe our belief's so much stronger.
Right. It's true.
And the whole movie does a really good job balancing that, but then it doesn't give those scenes enough time to breathe because it's hurrying to be an action movie. And that might be the Suits thing we talked about, like with Warner Brothers or whoever was trying to steer the ship. I think maybe they were like, ooh, too much philosophy. Let's go to this.
And that's what they're worried about. And it also depends. And what's very possible too is that the Wachowskis could have gotten too big inside of their heads.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens with creators, and it's a lot of different creators this happens to, is that, well, the first one worked. We know what we're doing.
Right.
And then they try to
do even bigger.
Let them do whatever they want, which is certainly what also could have happened. We talk about how maybe there were too many cooks in the kitchen. Maybe there weren't enough cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah. To rein some things in.
Could have also been it.
Yeah.
Could have also been it. Like look at the prequels. As much as I have found a new respect for them, there's a lot in there that somebody could have not been a yes man to George Lucas and said, hey, we need better dialogue.
Right.
Hey, we need this. We need that. And they could, the essence of the story is there, but let's not make Anakin a 10-year-old kid.
Right.
Let's start him out because his friends did tell him that.
Yeah.
But he didn't listen to that point of it. And maybe that is exactly what happened with the Wachowskis. I don't know. But and very similar to what happened in general, as I said, where there's this appreciation for the prequels now for me because of Clone Wars, because of these other things, these other movies, these other things that have been built up. It could be very much the same with this. Mm-hmm. But jumping back to Niobe real quick, I thought Jada Pinkett Smith was fantastic in both of these movies.
Absolutely.
I'm not necessarily a massive fan of hers, but I think she's really, really good in these two movies.
I don't know a lot of her other work because I don't pursue her work often.
Yeah.
But in this, I feel like no one else could have done it that well. Like she's such this character, and it also the irony of Will Smith almost being Neo. Like that definitely reflects. I love that Jada Pinkett and like this all turned out
I
to
thought
a
about
thing.
that as well. Yeah.
But I love for me that we get a character that is so strong.
You don't want to do the movie? Fine, we're gonna put your wife in it,
and she's gonna kill it. Like she's gonna be the highlight of two movies.
She really is.
But I
highlight
love
of this movie for sure.
100%.
Neo disappears for like 45 minutes.
Much. And then when he comes back, he's very lesser because they need it for the story.
Right.
But
and his eyes are gone at that point. He's not the Neo that we've seen. He's kind of like a damaged Neo afterwards too, and it's like there's a little bit more of the kind of on the nose Messiah stuff with the it can't see, I can see, but I see a very different way now, like all that, and it's Trinity. It goes back. This is the stuff that I did like about it: the trust, the love, the idea that she just says, if you tell, like that's the whole point of love is right. It's built on trust,
right?
And she says, if you tell me that it's good, which is one of my favorite scenes, by the way. When he goes, go up into the sky. She listens to him. She never questions him, ever. And she goes up, and we actually see for the first time ever the actual sky in this world.
It's beautiful.
And she says it. She says beautiful. And then when they dive back down, and you see, if you freeze frame it enough, you see when she takes the bars.
Yeah.
And it's over, and you're like, oh, could she survive? Oh no, she can't survive. She's had 75 different things.
She's covered in
That's my question. How the fuck does she survive? Neo, we know they clone her. Is that what we think?
I think she's I don't know, but I think she might be a program to convince Neo. I think the machines might need Neo to believe he's the one again. Yeah. My big theory right now is that they've reprogrammed Neo through time to not believe he's the one, and something happens where the Matrix itself needs Neo to believe again, so they use familiar figures like programs of Trinity to convince him to come back to the fold.
You don't think it looks like that they're setting her up to be the one?
I think that is how things might end up, but I think in the beginning they're trying to get Neo to wake up.
But she's going to be the one as a program.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the program is able to take control. And I think it's going to be an interesting commentary on.
But you see her get unplugged.
You also see her digitally for a moment, like
for a second, but you see her actually plugged in.
You see her in the tube,
in the tank.
So like,
so you think that's a program?
I think that might be I think that might be something to convince Neo. Like maybe he's watching that happen.
I don't know. It's gonna.
I think Trinity's gonna be the one at the end. I just don't know how it's gonna get there, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's funny because we were talking about. I don't know where the hell we were talking about this on some. I think it was on the big thing, but I was like, in today's, no matter what it is, no matter if you have a woman in role, someone screams, "Oh, that's woke." You don't hear that for this because Trinity's such a badass.
She's been badass.
And she's always been a badass.
20 years of awesome.
So if she is the one, no one's going to say shit.
Dodge this is what you say to that.
The question is, though, here is the question. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. She's like 55 years old now, whatever she is.
What's this to the franchise?
Well, no, not that. Even if because she could do these movies for a while, depending on. I mean, look, shit, Harrison Ford's still doing Indiana Jones. That's not my concern. My question is not even concern is, I hurt my back parallel parking not too long ago.
No, that's what I'm saying. 55. It's like I'm worried about those stunts for her.
Is she doing those big moves? Because she was doing a lot of that stuff. She's when I'm watching some of this stuff that she's doing in the third one, I'm like, I don't want her to do that.
That's my concern at 55. It's just the safety of Carrie Ann.
She might be older than that. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me see. I'm gonna type in how old she is, and like it's
because Keanu stayed for 40 years doing these stunts, and I imagine Carrie Ann hasn't, just because like why would she? Like in Jessica Jones, she's not doing gunfighting.
She's 54. She's 54.
We were close.
So she's 54 years old.
It's a substantial like stunt age.
It's like physically she's going to be able to do this role 100 times over. The question is like how much?
Because the one is different than Trinity as far as what you're doing.
Totally. And she very well could do it. And
that's why I think Yahya is such a great choice for Morpheus, because then you could go that direction with him for a long time.
Like I'm so curious how they're going to play this, because like Morpheus, like, do they clone these people?
I'm wondering, because like cloning is always that like tricky line of like believability. For some reason, like human beings, maybe it's our apprehension of cloning, or we're like, I don't like that storyline. Like Star Wars, Spider-Man, like clones are always a thing.
Yeah.
But this allows for programming and reboots and restarts.
Right.
But if we do the thing, kind of like you were asking me with Reloaded, if every one was Keanu, that's kind of like determinism. So if Carrie Ann can just come back and she died, what does that mean about our ability in the Matrix?
Well, she's playing the Mr. Anderson role so far that we've seen in the trailer. Like he's the one that's kind of seeking her out, because it looks like he's going to be the one kind of waking up and figuring everything out, because he remembers all of it.
I think we see scenes from the first 3 Matrixes to explain what he's.
Well, we know that we see it in the trailer. Yeah, he's watching like a movie or something.
So I think we see that, and that's why I'm wondering if we see that with Carrie Ann in the tube. Because we see so much of them. Because we've never seen her in that in the other movies.
I know. And it's like, because it plays into this particular movie, and how this movie plays out is that there's tons of Zion stuff. And when the Bane stuff was over after I didn't mind the imagery of when he finally can see it. Like there's a reason. I don't know. I still didn't really understand all the way through how he's able to have these powers in the real world. Like,
Keanu or Bane?
Yeah, Keanu.
Yeah, I think it was just the assumption of like his mind believes to such a level he can do it.
Right, but that's not
same leap as the second one.
But there's no conclusion of actually.
It's a lot of the. In fact, if you want to say Mary Sue stuff,
it is. But
he's a Gary Sue a lot in the third one.
But the question is just like, it's like why? Why is he able to control the Sentinels outside? The same reason that the Antichrist is able to transfer his machine consciousness into a human body, like all that, like that was harder for me to accept, right? And the other question then ties into what I hope they don't do. I hope that Neo nips the Smith shit in the bud real quick, because I don't want that to start. Oh, now Smith's going to start transferring himself over into the real world again. I can't
imagine they.
I don't think they will. I'm going to start to check out if they do.
Agreed.
Yeah,
we can't have the same story again, and they're already treading that line by having so much of the first 3 and the fourth one. It seems you can't also have the same plot.
No.
Like if for a second Smith starts replicating, we're out.
It's okay to kind of replicate beats to set up this feels familiar, hence deja vu.
First act.
Of why he's like, okay, I got to get through this. And this is Smith. Okay, that's Smith. That's Trinity. Oh, that's Morpheus. I got it. I still remember Kung Fu. I'm in it. What's my mission now?
I don't think we've had a new movie of this scale we've known this little about.
Yeah.
Because I think the last time we're having a conversation with very little facts and very little leaks, and it's a huge movie.
Right.
I have no idea what this movie is.
But this is why I think a rewatch of this entire series is perfect, because I am actually surprised. I'm not surprised that you like it less. I am surprised that I like it more.
I'm also surprised that Kate liked 2 and 3. It seemed a little bit more than 1.
No, she didn't like it more than 1. That's not what she said. She said
liked 3 more than 2?
She liked 3 more than 2.
Understood.
She said out of those 2, 1 was the one she liked the most. But I am not surprised that she liked 3 as the first watch, because a lot of people watch it that we've known throughout. Rewind about a year ago or 2 years ago when you didn't really know anything if this movie was even coming out.
Sure.
And you showed that to her, she would probably be like, okay,
action
fine.
movie.
But she knows that there's something coming now.
Yeah.
And she knows by when she because and it's significant when you watch the end of that movie. If you watch that movie, the end of that movie in 2003, you leave the theater and you go,
I felt so hollow.
Yeah.
I felt so let down by the ambivalence of nothing.
But I watched the end of it today,
and it's a sunrise. It's a sunrise that actually counts for the new day.
Because before
it was a sunrise into a day that we didn't get to live.
100%, because they say, "Will Neo come back?" I know the answer to that question.
Right.
I didn't know that in 2000.
And now I care more about Sati and her views because I know I get more of her to give us context.
And Keanu Reeves, people not laugh, but make the joke about John Wick being in the Matrix now. John Wick is going to help this movie tremendously
because there's an impact. There's a cultural impact
because of what he has. Keanu Reeves is that type of actor that is very rare. Where is he the best actor in the world? No, but he's extremely likable and he's a phenomenal action actor. Right? He's a very likable actor, so you always want to watch him because if he has a couple of goofy lines and you doesn't really sell it, who cares?
He's so captivating.
He's very captivating, and the thing is, he always has these resurgences and these things that he's able to do because he'll go. Classic movie that everyone's going to remember, whether it's Point Break or whatever it is, to dud, 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 Speed.
Right.
Dud, 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 Matrix. Dud, 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 dud,
Bill and Ted 3.
Bill and Ted, whatever it is. Dud, 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 John Wick.
Yeah.
And now the John Wick is the one that's coming because John Wick, very similar to what we were just talking about, where he just answered the question if a 50-year-old person, whether man or woman, can do it.
Yeah.
He's been doing it.
I think it's because he hasn't stopped, and that's my only thing with Carrie Ann is my concern that she's done a lot of great dramatic stuff. She's great in Jessica Jones and things, but
I didn't realize she was in Jessica. I never saw the series.
Okay, so she's one of the leads.
Okay,
but there's no need for Carrie Ann to be at a gun range every other year. There's no need for her to be doing stunt training.
He's still in it.
He hasn't. It's anytime your body starts, atrophying, you want to stay instead of like relearning it.
Right.
I just don't want Carrie Ann to get hurt because she hasn't needed to.
Well, I mean, you remember this movie shot, so she didn't get hurt.
She's good.
So
We're good now. But if she's the new one, I just want her to be okay.
She's new, right?
I just love her.
But either way, man, like this is it does set it. It's weird how much I thought I was going to go into this movie and be like, this is going to be the Last Jedi for me.
Yeah,
it was not.
What's your Sophie's choice between Spidey and Matrix right now?
Probably Matrix.
Yeah, because Rewatch.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's funny. At this point, when this comes out, we have reviews up for both of them.
Yeah, we've seen everything.
So people could go back and go, well, guess what, asshole, you love Spider-Man way more than you like the Matrix. That's why I wanted to say it now, because
I want us to both be accountable.
I'm saying it now that at the time that we taped this, not that I don't want to see Spider-Man. I'm very excited for it. The how they're going to play it, like multiverses and parallel universe. That's my shit. Like, I love that, and the fact of like how they're going to work with Toby and Andrew and how they're going to make that all work, and when that finally happens to be in the theater to watch it, like I'm very excited for that. But the idea of this kind of revolutionary franchise getting a jolt of energy, with the possibility that if it's handled the right way, could jumpstart a 5 and a 6. I'm all for it.
Yeah. And we're both TV guys. I want HBO Max to make a Matrix series.
I would love that. I want to
see the Animatrix and both live action and animation handled on TV.
But we could also be very depressed.
We can be very dark when we talk about this next week on camera.
And it's very possible too. Like if they try to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
If they go back to basics and back to the Matrix, which it seems like we're doing, with hence the deja vu and hence all that stuff, I think we're in good shape. But this movie.
Any other year, Spider-Man would be my most anticipated. I love the fact that we've got 2 movies that any year would be my number 1.
Right.
2 movies back to back that
crazy,
any year,
right, week to week,
within 5 days.
Between this, Dune, Eternals, like some good ones. I know
we've had a really good year.
We've had a good
fictional,
all things considering.
Yeah, and like especially since it got compacted to where we had to release everything in 4 months.
Totally.
And then next year, is gangbusters with everything we have that's kind of rolled over. I think art's in good hands right now.
Yeah,
I just hope
especially in the geeky side because he's got at this point. I think I don't remember when Boba Fett's either coming out today or next week.
And Hawkeye will be wrapping this week.
Hawkeye,
which is awesome.
So yeah, I'm getting more on board with Hawkeye. Like,
1 and 2 worried me, man. Three got me hard.
Three I liked a lot.
Three
I liked a lot. At this point, I think we're like 5 or whatever it might be. But
I think it's wrapping as we do this.
Okay. Either way, so much though. And we're gonna be wrapping up this series here. But I think what's the major stuff that we hit on the Bane stuff where he comes in. They have that scene. Whatever. There's a lot
systems corrupting binary thought.
The Sentinels are all over the place. The idea that they set up that thing from that short in Animatrix that there were these 250,000 or 500,000 Sentinels that were
one to every person that's just like a machine would think. I love that line.
And bringing in that kid who from the Animatrix is ultimately the one who says the war is over. The war is over. There's that. There's the idea of Link and Z who have I love that scene when he shows up and she's like, I believed in it the whole time. I knew you'd return, and she was great. What happened to her? Is she in stuff? That actress?
I don't know. That's a good question.
She was fantastic.
She was awesome. Consistently too.
What the hell happened to her? She was great. I mean, she might have been in stuff, and I just don't know.
It was what, 18 years ago?
You're crazy.
I really like that they leaned harder into the counterculture in 3, like the goth club that the Merovingian's running, and you see a lot of the Wachowskis getting to go like, hey, let's bring this to the forefront.
Some of the shit that I like,
yeah, like we get to have some weird outside of stuff, and then Zion to me felt really beautifully fleshed out in this one, where when like the moment where you were talking about where he comes back and said the war's over, when he runs into that space, it did feel like a colony close to the center of the earth to keep humans warm. Like I felt for the humanity that thrived underground in this movie a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so. And that's why I mean, to be clear, The Matrix, the first one did this. You got to have the real world in it. And we see it. We see the real world. Like even like Neo at one point, he's who's he talking to though, right? Like who are those people? Is it Morpheus? Who are the people that are running it right now? What is Zion like? What is the threat?
Will we see Zion in 4?
I wonder.
What will it look like?
What's the threat?
And like, what is it? So 21.99 is when they estimate the first one was. When is 4?
Right. Well, it's got to be.
They've aged 20 years.
Yeah, because and maybe even more so.
Right.
Because Niobe was early 30s.
Yeah.
Like she's not.
And I'm assuming Sati is Sati, so which would mean like her aging.
But
she's a program.
She's a program.
So age doesn't matter there.
Doesn't mean.
And Yaya's the big curveball.
Right. So I think that I think it's significantly more like, yeah. How are they going to explain it? It's so, and I'm all for it.
That's why it's a little over Spidey for me, because I know Spider-Man is my guy and I can predict enough of that. But right now I'm like, how does Trinity work? How does Neo work? How does Morpheus work? And that feels so beautifully fresh for what we do for a living. We don't get to go into movies like this much.
Yes, but the flip side to that is
it could be crushing.
If it doesn't work and it's stupid,
obliterated,
then we're going to be like, we're going to look at each other and go, that was the explanation.
It's going to hurt.
It's going to suck.
It's going to hurt way more if this doesn't succeed than something being mediocre in a mediocre way.
All right, listen. I know a lot of this was the tying into a movie that at this point we've both have seen from your point of view.
But we were excited.
Yes, from your point of view. But this is also show you on the now I probably either will drop this on the 23rd or 24th. So if it is Christmas Eve, enjoy your Christmas Eve. If it's the 23rd, enjoy the next 2 days. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a great holiday break. I hope that you are enjoying this channel. Please make sure that you subscribe to this channel if you haven't done already. Please check out Coy Jandreau on his channel. He's got he's doing a lot of great stuff over there. Check him out on Twitter. All that stuff, everybody. Enjoy. And we're going to see, I'm still dropping shit on this channel, but we're approaching the new year. It's 2022. It's coming up right around the corner. Thank you guys so very much for joining us here today. This has been The Matrix Rewatch. Our next Rewatch series will most likely either be Scream, then leading into Batman, I think. But I know we're doing Batman.
Yeah, cannot wait.
But all right, listen, thank you, Coy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, K. Mulligan. We'll see you guys on the flip side. All right, everybody. Peace.